How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Athletes Hub podcast. I'm back. Flexx is back as well. Almost time for the Premier League to kick off. How's it going, Flexx?
Yeah, man. Excited, man. When football's back, especially the Premier League, man, it's always good news. Always good news.
That is it. So the Premier League is obviously a matter of days away now, and as always, we're back to discuss what we think will be a very exciting season, and just do a bit of a preview actually on the season ahead. To be fair, and what's your thoughts on the upcoming Premier League season? It kind of feels like we've not had a break from football because obviously we covered a bit of the World Cup during the summer as well, and now time's gone so quickly to the point where the Premier League's back now. Like, what's your thoughts on the upcoming season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting only because of the amount of changes from a manager's perspective and maybe one big player exiting the league potentially and Rodri. So I think that's going to make it all quite interesting to see. And I think Arsenal should be in pole position to do it again. But again, that's what makes it interesting. You just never know.
That is it. I guess we're going to talk about, we're going to make a few predictions in this episode. You just mentioned Arsenal there. When it comes to sort of the Premier League title race, last season, I think we were spoiled in a way because we had a very exciting end to the Premier League title race. Again, you look at sort of the teams this season, right? Again, we'll talk about the newly promoted teams in a bit, but look at those at the top of the Premier League, the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, obviously United. There's a lot of changes for a lot of clubs, as you mentioned there, and you mentioned Arsenal. I think I agree with you. I feel like Arsenal are in a very good position to win the Premier League again this season because they kind of broke the barrier last year where they couldn't win it for a number of years. They got close, but last year they finally got the line. And again, they've got a very strong squad, a very good, clever coach in Arteta. And it just feels as if now, again, looking at the clubs around them, everyone's kind of going for a bit of a transition with a new coach. So I feel like they're probably in the best position to win the league. I did an episode where we spoke about the transfers, and are you surprised that they're not really? I guess they brought in Bruno Guimaraes, but are you surprised they've not made more signings?
You just need to tweak a few things, and you don't need to do nothing dramatically crazy. It's for everyone else to do that. You are the champions, and so I feel like just one or two in certain key positions, whereas we know that they have to plug the gap on the left wing. They've brought in an extra midfielder. Maybe they might want to get a centre-back. I'm hearing Ezri Konsa is likely to be the one that they sign. And for me, that's all you probably need, right? If you could get yourself a different option for a striker as opposed to Gyökeres, someone else who can solve a different problem, then you could look into that. But they don't have to do nothing dramatic to be out front.
Yeah, that's true. I think sometimes if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? And again, they're the ones, they're in the leading pack at the moment. Again, they've broken that barrier. And I think, again, they're just a very difficult team to play against. Even the Community Shield this past weekend against Man City, they effectively just destroyed them in that game. I know it's a friendly, but these matches almost are like a bit of a taster in terms of what's to come in the season. And you look at Man City, look at, obviously Maresca's gone in there. They've lost Rodri, who we'll speak about later on. But you look at Arsenal, it's like they just picked up where they left off last season. Just powerful, strong, and just effectively kind of destroyed Manchester City there, really. But when you look at other teams around them, I know obviously you're a Chelsea fan. You guys have been quite busy in the transfer market this summer as well. Obviously, Alonso, a new coach. I do feel like Chelsea will have a very good season. I feel like, and I spoke to Jay and Dylan about this a couple of weeks ago in the transfer episode, and I feel like the fact that Chelsea have got no European football, there's a lot of time for Alonso to work with these players, and he's a good coach. He can coach players. And look at Morgan Rogers coming in as well. Obviously, Danny Welbeck's joined up. Cole Palmer's there. João Pedro. If you only play in one game a week, you've got the domestic cups. Obviously, from August until December, you've only got Carabao Cup matches and Premier League. So that's a lot of time for Alonso to work with these players, get a philosophy across, get a way of playing across, make it clear to them. And there's no reason why I think Chelsea finish on top four, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, look, I think it's definitely possible. Like you said, one game a week. We saw how impactful that was for United. So we hope the similar impacts could happen our way. And to be fair, the last time these set of circumstances came about, Chelsea were able to actually win the league.
Yeah.
So be interesting. I'm not saying that we are to win the league, but it'll be good to see how far this team can push to challenging for the league. It's a decent squad. For me, I still feel like there is gaps, especially in the goalkeeping department. I really would love to see Sanchez moved on. He had a decent preseason, but there's still a lot of question marks around him as a goalkeeper. And I feel like Chelsea historically have always had astute goalkeepers. You know, if we want to look back at Cudicini, who was pretty good, then we went on to check Courtois. You know, we then had Mendy. The guys in between, like Kepa and so on, which weren't so good, you know, they were found out and moved on. And Sanchez, for me, falls into that category. So I feel, you know, spend a bit more money, go and get yourself a decent goalkeeper, you know, someone who just doesn't make the same mistakes. Mistakes will happen, but Sanchez frequently makes the same type of mistakes. It feels like whenever he has to think, then that's where the problem comes in. He's good at shot stopping when things are happening and it's just, you know, just all going on. He's all right with that. But when he has the ball at his feet or he has a moment to think, then things go flat. And so I feel like that needs looking into. But otherwise, one game a week, we should be able to do something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's I don't know, look at the teams. It's kind of hard to predict. I know I've seen people kind of trying to predict the outcome in terms of the league table at the end of the season and stuff, but it just feels as that there's so many question marks over a lot of clubs because Liverpool have got a new manager. Obviously, Carrick's first full season at United. Tottenham have got De Zerbi's first full season there as well. Maresca's joined City, like we mentioned. So there's still a lot of question marks as to, obviously Eddie Howe's left Newcastle now as well. So it'd be interesting to see how they got on there as well. There's a lot of question marks and it's difficult to kind of predict like what will happen. Do you know what I mean? But when you look at the top four race, who are you predicting to get in the top four? Because I feel like Arsenal definitely be in it for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if City miss out on the top four, to be honest. I think Pep left them with a really good team of players. But I still feel like, again, Rodri's gone now, Bernardo Silva's gone now, John Stones has left. Like, these are experienced players who were influential in their success, right? As much as Doku's there, Semenyo was fantastic last season. Obviously, Anderson's come in. I wouldn't be surprised if they miss out on the top four because you had that manager in Pep who was a driving force for 10 years there, who was relentless. And Maresca's a good coach. He won stuff at Chelsea and obviously got Leicester promoted. But I just feel like it's a different character, a different person there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they missed out. I think Liverpool will probably sneak in the top four. I think United will get the top four, but I think in Europe they'll suffer. I feel like the Champions League will suffer this season because I feel, again, domestically, if Carrick doesn't change the team around like he did last season, you know, I feel we could do well in the Premier League, but I don't think we'll get anywhere in the Champions League because I think it'll be too much. The squad's not strong enough to manage midweeks and weekend games. So I think United will probably get in the top four at the expense of European football in actual competition. And I feel like, who else do I feel like getting top four? So I think Chelsea will make it as well. So I'm going for Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and who I don't know who my Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, United. I think that's going to be the top four this season.
But did you know what? It's not even a top four anymore. It's a top five.
Top five gets it. Yeah.
So you got to put another team in that fifth spot.
That's the thing. City, I think City could make it fifth because I think, again, you've got Haaland. He's got a good group of players, Maresca. But I don't think they'll hit the heights. Because even last season, right, I watched them against, I think it was a game against Brighton where they were poor City. And again, I think Arsenal let them back in the title race. City, in January, they were out of it. But Arsenal gave them hope and they came back, built some momentum, signed Semenyo in January. But City, I don't think City were amazing last season. I just think Arsenal gave them a chance. So I think they'll probably sneak into the top five. But I think in terms of like City having a great season, I don't think that would be the case. I think they'll be hit and miss. I think Haaland will be amongst the goals. But yeah, I don't think they'll have a great season. But who you tipping to be the top five?
Arsenal to win the league, just because they have continuity, so they should be able to get it done. I feel based on last season's form, United look very good to me. Again, it all comes down to how he's able to balance the squad with all the games, injuries, all of this. So I'll put United probably second, third, then I would move on. And I would say Chelsea again, between United and Chelsea for second and third, and then I would go with City, Liverpool, and Tottenham. I feel Tottenham, they're in the same boat as Chelsea in regards to one game a week. And they have a manager who is managed in the league and has got players that he genuinely likes, and he's got free reign of the club and what he wants to do. So I feel like he will do better. I think Tottenham will do better than City and Liverpool. So scratch that. So I'm going to go Arsenal, United, Chelsea for that second, third spot. Then I'm going to go Tottenham, City, Liverpool. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, it's a hard league to kind of predict, to be fair. But I agree with you on Tottenham, and I made a point to Dylan and Jay a couple of weeks ago that I think having a one game a week right is really, really critical, because you look at Tottenham last season when De Zerbi came in, and I think he even had Igor Tudor, they were still playing Champions League football and they were still trying to fight relegation. So there wasn't enough time for the managers. And I think when they eventually got knocked out of the Champions League, you could see Tottenham were a bit better under De Zerbi because they had that preparation time. And like you mentioned there, a good point, he's made some good signings. Like they got Tonali in there, they got Robertson, who I think is a very smart signing from Liverpool. Obviously, they're bringing in Fernandes from West Ham as well. So he's made some, and I think Van Hecker's joined from Brighton as well.
That's right.
So they made some really sensible, good signings there. And again, I'd be shocked if Tottenham don't finish in the top 8 at least. Because the one game a week, again, seriously, the one game a week, you know, they've got a good coach in there. De Zerbi, as you mentioned, he's been at Brighton before, has always plays expansive football. His players work hard. He's very clear on what he wants, right? And the signings he's made, again, a lot of them have played Premier League football, essentially, right? So you're not bringing players from overseas who don't know the league. A lot of the players he's brought in, the key ones, have played in the Premier League. So there shouldn't be an adaptation issue there, for instance. So I feel like Tottenham will be one of the teams to watch. But I do feel like Chelsea in particular will have a very good season. I think Palmer's obviously back in Morgan Rodgers. Not sure about what's happening with Jackson. Is he leaving? Is he staying?
That one it's up in the air. I feel like looking at the preseason games, he comes on, he plays very well. He's a good ball carrier, good ball carrier. Links up very well with the other ball playing midfielders. So there is a space for him. I feel like with any big club, you do need to have at least 3 strikers readily available to solve different problems. The good thing we do have is the fact that João Pedro can play as a 10. He can play off the left. Jackson can also play off the left and can play as a 9. And Welbeck is just a flat out 9, so who can also play off the left or the right as well. So there's options to be able to solve different problems. So I feel Delap is the one who has to be the one to exit. I think he's the extra baggage that's being carried. And then we also have Imenga, who's there as well, who looks really good and has had a solid preseason, but is quite injury prone. So I feel Delap will be the one to go, and then he will probably just try and balance with the 4. If a great offer comes in for Jackson, I feel like they will listen to it, and then they will, allow that to happen. They say it's possible that it could be Aston Villa. Unai Emery is quite fond of him, so we'll see what will happen over there.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I think you made a good point. I think Chelsea having 3 strikers, good strikers, would be sensible as well, because if you're playing, I think there's no reason why Chelsea can't go on a good cup run this season. If they keep Jackson in particular, they've got Welbeck there as well, you've got João Pedro. I don't see why they can't have a good cup run, because again, Welbeck's proven in the Premier League, and I'm shocked that United weren't even interested, considering now Šeško's injured, and you still got Xerxes. I'm shocked United didn't show interest there. But again, you've got Jackson there, you've got João Pedro. Chelsea can have a good cup run, particularly again if you've got the one game a week and you've got the Carabao Cup. There's no reason why, if everyone stays fit, that Chelsea can't do damage this season. Again, I think there's been talk about Enzo Fernandez leaving as well. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. Apparently, he's linked with City. Maresca knows him quite well.
I'm cool with that. I feel like if he leaves, I'd rather have Morgan Gibbs-White. I'd rather go in for Morgan Gibbs-White or Adam Wharton. I feel like you've got those 2 players that are at clubs that they should progress from. So for me, I'm like, yes, 120, he can go. I feel like it'll be more, but it'll be all add-ons and all of that malarkey because they missed the deadline. Adam Wharton, you could probably get him for a call anywhere between 60 and 70. So that's not bad. I feel like Marinakis will, his evaluation of Gibbs White would be astronomical. I feel like it would be unreasonable what he would be asking for.
Do you remember that interview? Do you remember the post-match interview he did once? And he's standing next to Gibbs White, and he's telling me he's happy at the football club. He's this and that. That was so awkward.
He had the gun pointing at his back. Yeah, I mean, we couldn't see it, but there was a gun there.
Marinakis just comes across as one of those like mafia, like mob bosses. Do you know what I mean? You don't get the wrong side of it.
Suge Knight of football, I tell you.
Yeah, literally, that's a great comparison, actually, to be fair. But no, you're right. Adam Wharton there, I think that's a good point. He's one I probably expected to move on from Palace this summer as well, because, again, it's got great potential there, was outstanding for them last season. And again, he's one that I'm surprised United have not gone for. I know Tielemans has come in there, but again, for me, I was thinking someone like Tonali would have been perfect for United. I know, obviously, he's Italian, he's got your links with De Zerbi. But Adam Wharton, I'm shocked United have not gone in for him, because look at the midfield area, I think there's still a few positions that United have to strengthen. And to be honest with you, I'm disappointed. I'm not expecting United to spend 800 million this transfer window. That doesn't happen. But I expected them to be a bit more aggressive when it comes to bringing players in and getting rid of players. Right, you've still got Xerxes going. The league's on Saturday, Flex. It starts on Friday. We play on Saturday. And you've still got Mason Mount in the team, who's a good player on his day, but he gets injured often. You've got Xerxes in there, who's nowhere near good enough. Don't let the pre-season stuff fool you. These are players that Carrick has to go into the season and actually rely on to do well for him, right? And the left-back position, you've still got Luke Shaw there, who's great on his day. But let's face it, when Carrick came in last season, right, the team were playing one game a week. And that's very different. All United had to do was win the games and get into the top four. There's nothing else to play for. But that's very different from starting from August and trying to go for the Premier League, try to go for domestic cups and try to compete in the Champions League. And can he really rely on these players to produce? I don't think he can. So there's still a lot of question marks. Ugarte's injured. He's still there, right? There's a lot of players in the squad. Dalot, question marks. Is he good enough for United? We're not sure. There's still a lot of question marks. I'm surprised that Tielemans was a good signing, a very sensible signing. He's, again, there's no need for him to adapt to the league. He's won stuff at Leicester. He's won stuff at Villa. A good signing, right? He'll fit straight in. But I'm surprised and shocked that the club haven't been a bit more aggressive with the approach and trying to get rid of players first and foremost, and also trying to bring players in. And I don't know. It's weird because when I look at United, for the last 10 years, right, I've never gone into a season as a fan and felt as if, okay, United can win the league this season. It's always been a case of, okay, we're going through transition. There's a new manager there. Maybe there's we need a few more players here and there. The only time I actually remember United maybe going for a league title was when Mourinho was there in 2017, when they signed Lukaku and Matic and those players. United I never look at United and think, okay, we're ready to go for a league this season. I haven't had that in years, and we're still in the same position now. And the league's on Saturday, and you've still got Xerxes there. You've still got Šeško's injured as well. Do you know what I mean?
Xerxes looks like he could come good, I
don't think he could come good. Don't let us listen. I said to Dylan and Jay a couple of weeks ago, Carrick, last season you had one game a week. He changed it against Leeds. We lost that game. Lost to Newcastle away from home, and I think there was a game against Sunderland, and they were poor. Mount played, Xerxes played. When he changed it, the team were poor. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you go into a season, right, and you're trying to, and this is what I keep on saying to people, don't let the preseason stuff fool you. When he needs to rely on players to get him through a tricky period, his first full season there, playing Champions League football, it's a different ballgame at that point. And these players have had chances, especially Xerxes, had chance after chance after chance. He's not good enough. He's not what United need. He might be good for another team in maybe in Italy where he came from, but at United, what they're looking for, he's not good enough.
So you're done with him. You've closed the book on him.
Yeah, closed the door on Xerxes. He's not good enough. I've watched football for a long time. I've watched players at United. When Šeško can come if he's got confidence, he's got a run of games and he's playing week in, week out. He's proven in front of goal, he's lethal, he can score goals. Šeško doesn't give me that same vibe. He might get a goal every now and again, but he's not what United need. United can't rely on Šeško. Again, if Šeško is fit and you're playing in the Champions League on a Tuesday and you've got to change it on the Saturday, do you think Šeško will do what Šeško can do?
Nah,
you can't. You're right, and that's the problem, right? But United are going to season with the players still there, and that's why I'm surprised why they're not aggressive and get rid of players. Again, Luke Shaw, I like Luke Shaw on his day, but again, it's very different when the pressure's off and new managers come in. You've got one game a week. You've got to get the Champions League. It's very different to competing properly. So.
Luke Shaw is a good player. I mean,
good player, very good player.
he's a solid left back. I mean, easily in the league, he's top 5.
Oh, yeah, I agree. When he's fit, yes, 100. Even for England, when he's playing fit and he's doing well for England, he's probably England's best left back, right? But my point is, how many times have you looked at him and thought that? Like I mentioned before, and I've said it many times, it's very different when Amram gets sacked. Carrick comes in, he's got to make everyone feel happy again. You've got a game a week, you've got no other competitions to play for. All you've got to do is try and get the top 4. It's very different to then starting the season from August. We've got to go for the domestic cups, we've got to go for the Champions League and compete in the Premier League. Do you think that Luke Shaw has that in him at this stage of his career to do that?
No.
How many times have you seen players when a manager gets sacked in January or whatever, a new manager comes in? It's like Solskjaer was it? Everyone's amazing until the season starts again, and then we're back to the same issues we had before. It's a different demand, right? The pressure's off. Amram was apparently he was the at fault for everything. When the Carrick came in, he made everyone better. Luke Shaw's playing one game every 2 weeks, and he's amazing. But when you're competing in different competitions, that's where the demand is different. That's where United are struggling, and that's why I'm surprised that certain players heading into the league in August, Sheshko's injured, right? And you've still got the likes of Xerxes there. Ugarte's injured, he's still there. Obviously, Luke Shaw's good on his day, but can you rely on him? Again, he was quite poor against Milan in the pre-season game. So there's still a lot of question marks. There's still a lot of things to do, and that's why I'm saying that United, I think, will finish in the top 4, but it will come at the expense of the Champions League. United, I think we'll struggle in Europe this season, 100%.
I mean,
I'd be surprised. If we do well, I'm pleasantly surprised. But I feel like with the squad we've got now, we need reinforcements, man, to compete properly.
I mean, let's see. The window is still open, so there's still plenty of scope. Players have to exit, like the likes of Ugarte, like you're saying, Xerxes. So there's still opportunity there for players to go out, so then players could come in. And so yeah, we'll see. And don't forget, you've got a decent academy system with a lot of promise in there as well. So if we don't,
Heaven did well last season when he came into the team. He did quite well. I mean, sure, Lacey did well in pre-season as well.
Lacey looks very good, and Fletcher's boy looks really good as well. So I feel like Carrick coming from like being a United guy, and the United way is to also promote from within. Maybe if we don't see major signings or whatever coming in, it could just be because what's already internal is enough to supplement the team going forward. Because remember, those guys, they come through the academy, they're happy to be on the bench. They're happy to play in the Carabao Cup. They're happy to do, the third round FA Cup, whatever. Like, they're happy for that. You go and bring in some other names, they don't want to play those games. They sign in because you're in the Champions League. They want to play in that, and you can't keep everyone happy. So, balancing it out would mean, let's bring in some of the young guys who can, take a bit of the load off the more experienced boys, and then we go from there. I still feel like your midfield needs legs, because Tielemans has not got the legs that I thought, United would be trying to sign. Mainu is good, but again, he's not like the guy with all the stamina in the world to get up and down the pitch. You've got Bruno, who his best work is further up the pitch and not necessarily further behind. So you're missing that box-to-box player, I feel.
Tonali, Anderson, they would have been great for United, those two.
Would have been, 100%. You need that guy who can, I would say a Declan Rice of sorts. Like, you need that guy who can just constantly for 95, 96 minutes, just get up and down the pitch. And that's it. So I know that Brazilian fella you guys missed out on due to medicals and whatnot.
Edison,
you need to get someone like that in, and I feel like your goalkeeping situation is good. Your right back situation still needs improvement because Dallo, I don't know how he's still there.
You've got Mazraoui can fill in there, but again, there's still question marks. This is the same back four that was there in 2022.
Fourth, that's an agent.
I mean, Dallo, Martinez, Maguire, Luke Shaw. That's the same back four in 2022. So I think that tells you everything you need to know, really. And that's why I'm surprised that United are not aggressive in terms of, but let's move on because I'll be on this all day. Do you know what I mean? Let's talk about the newly promoted clubs and who could potentially get relegated this season. Obviously, Ipswich Town have come up, Coventry City, and obviously Hull City have come up. When you look at relegation this season, like who you tipping to kind of be relegated? I think Hull City are definites to go down, to be honest.
100,000,000%. I feel like the odds from the bookies wouldn't even be any good if you said I'm betting for Hull to go down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's guaranteed.
Ipswich Town again. Gary O'Neill's coming there. He got sacked when he was at Wolves a couple of years ago. But I look at Ipswich now. I just don't think they're going to be good enough. I think they struggled last time when Kieran McKenna was in charge. So I think they'll probably go down along with Hull. I just think the gap when it comes to quality from the Championship to the Premier League is still, the gap's still quite big. So I feel like they'll suffer as a result. Coventry City, however, I feel like they will just about avoid a drop. I feel Frank Lampard coming back to the Premier League after spells with Chelsea and Everton, I think he's a better coach now, a better manager. Did well to get Coventry automatic promotion last season as well. So I feel like they're going to be a team. They made some good signings as well. I think they signed a 1 year from Forest, and they've signed Urenchi from the Ghanaian.
Come on.
He'd be fantastic at the World Cup for Ghana. And he's come in there. So I think Frank Lampard's made some good signings then. I think Coventry they'll just about stay up. But I think they'll score a lot of goals, Coventry, I feel like they'll be one of the teams that would be good to watch. Obviously, Thomas Asante's there as well. So, yeah, I think Coventry will be all right, But I think Hull City and Ipswich will probably go down. And,
so who are you picking? Who are you picking as, the not so-called established, but the Premier League team that would join the newcomers and going down?
I think there's a couple to watch out for. I think Palace could be in trouble. I think they lost Glasner last season and they didn't really end the season well. Palace, Newcastle, Eddie Howe's not there no more. And you still look at Newcastle thinking, have they got what they need? I think they'll have a tough season. I don't think they'll get relegated, but I think they'll have a tough season. Who am I tipping to go down? It's hard to say, Sunderland, people are saying Sunderland won't have the season they had last year, that's for sure. But
they won't go down.
Yeah, I don't think they'll go down, but I think they'll be lingering around,
I think Fulham has a good chance of going down.
But you know what? Fulham, we'll talk about that in a minute. Fulham, people have said that. People have said Fulham could go down, but I don't think so. We'll talk about it in a minute, but I don't think Fulham. The reason why I don't think Fulham will go down is because I think Arbeloa coming to the Premier League. I know he was at Real Madrid. And obviously, as I mentioned, Coventry and Frank Lampard, and you tipped them to be a good team to watch, Coventry, next season. Mm-hmm. I just feel like Fulham, and I just feel like Marco Silva did a great job there, and I think Arbeloa, Spanish coaches come in the league, they've done quite well usually, and I just feel like they could be a team to watch next season. I know they signed a Ghanaian kid from Bayern Munich, Kusi Asari, I think it is. So I don't know. I just feel like Fulham. It'd be interesting to see what they do next season, Fulham, because a new coach, their new philosophy. Arbeloa's at Madrid. He's played in the Premier League himself with Liverpool. So yeah, I think they'll be an interesting one to watch, to be honest. Who are you tipping to go down?
I think to join the two that you've mentioned, Ipswich and Hull. For me, I think it's Fulham. I think it's. I feel like they flirt with it quite a lot, but then they just been fortunate enough to kind of pull away. Palace are just really experienced as a club in just surviving. It's been a little while before, since they've gone down. They've always found a way to just.
But you know what, Flexx? So the reason why that is because of the coaches they've had. They've had a good coach in Glasner, who's been probably the most successful coach in their recent history. They had Roy Hodgson, who was a master at doing that. They had Tony Pulis at one point. They've always had coaches who are good at that stuff, but I just feel like if you lose Walton as well, obviously Mateta's gone now, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. Is Sarr still there? Sarr, is he still at Palace?
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's going to be Fulham. I don't want it to be, because I like the boys there. I don't want it to be. I just think it's going to be them. I think if it's not them, then unfortunately it'll just be the new guys come up and the new guys go down.
Yeah, it's hard to predict, isn't it? Because the teams they all look quite similar, but I just feel like Palace losing Glasner, if Walton does go, which is a possibility, and obviously Mateta's not there, and I'm not sure about Issar going to stay. If they lose one or two more key players, and they've got a new manager now as well, I feel like they'll have a tough season. You're right, they might just about stay up, but I feel like they're going to have a tough season next year. And Fulham as well, I think with Fulham it could go very, very well or very, very badly. I think it could go two ways. And I think Arbeloa coming in is an interesting appointment. We'll see. Again, Areola came into the league. He struggled for a bit with Bournemouth, but then he got going and he was flying with Bournemouth. Maybe Arbeloa might do the same. But if I had to pick, I don't know. I feel like Palace will definitely have a tough season if I had to pick. But
Hey, look, we're all going to be there to witness it. So
Yeah, no,
let's see. Let's
that's the fun
see.
in it, isn't it? That's the
Yeah,
fun.
that is the fun in it for sure.
But yeah, listen, top goal scorers. I know you predicted Haaland to become top goal scorer again next season, and obviously he had a very good year last year. City missing out on the title. I feel like Alexander Isak will have a good year. I feel like last season with Liverpool, a lot of Liverpool players didn't really get going last year. First, Isak obviously had an injury. Ekatike was good, and then obviously fizzled out a little bit. Frimpong, I think a lot of their signings didn't really get going last season. And I think Isak this season has probably got a point to prove. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's in and amongst the goals next season.
I mean, I feel he'll be in amongst the goals, but I don't think he will be number one. Haaland just can't be stopped. Whether City win the league or don't win the league, the boy knows his way to goal, and he just can't be stopped. It is what it is, and he's been doing it for like ever. So having a new manager's not going to change that. It's what he does. I feel like Isak, he's got a point to prove. So you're right in that he's going to try and force and push to have a very good season. And now that there isn't a Mo Salah in the team, I feel like they will play more towards their centre forward, which is good because in past times they would play out to their inside forwards, whether it be Salah or Mane, and that's where the goals would typically come from. So it'll be actually interesting to see how they play now. Are they gonna try and get balls into the box more often to feed the forwards? It'll be interesting to see what that looks like. I mean, I think João Pedro is a good shout as well. Again, not to finish number one, but to be in the mix, right? And needless to say, I don't know if Igor Thiago will be able to reproduce what he did last season, but honorable mention to him as well, because he did finish second and he bagged a lot of goals. And I'm somewhat surprised that clubs are erring in the cautious side of things in regards to signing him. I don't know if it's because of the World Cup and he didn't have such a great World Cup, but then again, Brazil really didn't have a great World Cup, so it's hard to shine in a team nation that's not really doing well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do over there. But I think,
it's a good point in Liverpool. I think they might go for a front three. They might do Isak, Ekatike, and Rio Ngomara, who was very exciting last season. This might be his breakthrough season where he plays a lot of games and gets better and better. So I think every other teams are obviously very high in energy and they press quite well, and every player in that team works really, really hard. So I don't think we'll see a thing where players are going to become lazy in Areola's team. And I just feel like that will be great for Isak, because as much as, again, he struggled last season with injuries, when he gets going, he's one of the best in the league, to be honest. You're talking about Newcastle, he's lethal in front of goal. He doesn't score one type of goal. He can score goals from outside the box. He can score headers, kind of like Erling Haaland in a way as well. But I think Haaland is more one-dimensional. He runs in behind and he finishes. He's lethal at finishing. Whereas Isak's got a bit more in his locker in terms of how, I guess, maybe the types of scores he can score, if that makes sense.
I mean, that's where the definition of centre forward and striker.
Yeah.
Haaland is a striker. Just that's it. Isak is a centre forward. He's more of a complete player. Can dribble with the ball, can bring others into play, do all of assist goals, all of this type of stuff. But look, you go for a point man because he can absolutely just destroy teams and only needs a sniff. It takes me back to when they played Brazil and he hadn't touched the ball for however long. And he had one sniff, one good run against Gabriel, towered over him, bang, header, goal. That's all you want from your nine.
He's lethal. He's lethal on the ball. He's not there to mess about. He's there to convert. He's a great converter. He doesn't need to be in a game. People say, "Oh, Haaland, he's up there. He's not in the game." He doesn't need to be in the game. He just needs to be in the right place at the right time, and he scores goals. And that's what he's there to do. Whereas Isak's more involved in a build-up play, 2 goals. You know what I mean? He comes in, drops in, links up play with the other forward players, gets in the box on end of chances, or again can pick up the ball and create a chance for himself and score. And I think that's a difference between those two. And I do feel like the shootout.
I'm going to ask you a question. If you could pick one of these two for United, who are you picking?
Haaland. Yeah, Haaland, yeah. We need someone in there because we know they've not had that for years. The last lethal striker we probably had. That's a good question. I mean,
It's
I'd
got
probably
to
say
be
probably,
Rooney.
probably Van Nistelrooy. The
Yeah.
most recent one probably Van Persie in that season when they won the league. He was lethal in front of goal.
He was lethal, but I would say Van Persie is more of an Isak type. Van
Yeah, he's
Nistelrooy
more
was
skillful, more
a
technical.
Haaland type.
But in terms of like goal machine, you're right. Van Nistelrooy was a goal, but he was in the box all the time. He was just there to score goals. And United haven't had a player like him in many, many years. And I think Haaland would be perfect for United. You look at the wingers, the forward players can create. Bruno Fernandes would love playing with Haaland. He'll love it because Haaland has to run. As long as Haaland's running, Bruno will find him. It's like Paul Scholes and Van Nistelrooy. As long as you're making movements or Rooney in the box, right, they'll find you. Do you know what I mean? So I think Haaland would be perfect for United if I could pick one. That's not going to happen though, is it? So
nah, it's not.
it's wishful thinking, man. So yeah, these two probably Benjamin Šeško can get fit. I think he shown last season that he could, if he's given a run, he can get goals. So but yeah, it'll be interesting to see who does finish the season with the Golden Boot because there's a bit of I don't know. It just feels like this league is a bit unpredictable this season. So
it is. It will be. It will be. I feel like Arsenal are the only sure bankers that you could hang your hat on. But even then, it's the Premier League. Anything can happen.
That is true. I'm looking forward to it. But before we finish off on some news topics, let's just look at the fixtures for the first round of Premier League fixtures this coming weekend. So obviously, Arsenal host Coventry City on Friday at 8 o'clock. And on Saturday, early game, Manchester United go to Hull. Hopefully that's a guaranteed 3 points for United. Fingers crossed, please. And at 3 o'clock, you've got Ipswich Town back in the Premier League playing Sunderland. Everton host Crystal Palace as well. Forest play Leeds. And the late game, we've got Brentford against Spurs. On Sunday, we've got 3 matches. We've got City against Bournemouth. That should be interesting to see how that goes. Brighton against Aston Villa. And of course, a tasty game. We've got Newcastle and Liverpool at 4:30 on Sunday. And then we've got your club, Flexx Chelsea, playing against Fulham in the West London derby. So, yeah, so an interesting round of fixtures there, to be fair. And we'll see how those go. But let's finish on a bit of news, actually. So, Paul Pogba reportedly, going to have his contract terminated by Monaco. And, just a bit of a sad... I don't know, it just feels like with Paul Pogba, I look at Paul Pogba right now, he's had great moments in his career, winning the World Cup with France, he was influential in that, obviously at United. It just feels as if like there's been a lot of, it feels like his career was almost like he could have done more, if that makes sense. He's done well in his career, but it just feels as if like we've not seen what he could do true. We saw a bit of Juventus before United, but it just feels as if like there's a bit of, didn't achieve all he can achieve, if that makes sense.
You think so? I mean,
winning the World Cup with France, I mean, that's the pinnacle, isn't it?
This is what I was going to say. I feel like
you look at his club career, it just feels as if at United it was unfinished business, or he still had a lot to prove, or he still had a lot to give. I don't know.
He came to United at a time where they wanted him to be everything.
Yeah,
and the whole club was in disarray at the time, so it's hard to thrive in that environment. I mean, look, it's even a miracle that Bruno Fernandes is doing what he's doing at United with how it's been, right?
I feel like when he came to United with Mourinho, I don't think Mourinho was the right coach for Pogba at that time. He wasn't the right coach for him.
I mean,
you look at France. Deschamps was perfect. He had a free role in that France team, and that's why they won the World Cup, because he was so good. Mourinho was so infatuated on position play and doing your defensive duties, and Pogba just wasn't that player. And that's why Juventus, him, Marquisio, and Pirlo was a great three, because they could do what he wanted to do. He could do what he wanted to do. Pirlo would, be the defensive player. Marquisio could do what he wanted to do, and Pogba was just given a free role in that team. But Mourinho, he wasn't the right coach for Pogba at that time, I don't think.
I mean, Mourinho, I think, is the right coach for everybody, because he's Jose. I'm not going to lie to you. That's how I see it. I think he's the right coach for everybody. It just comes down to buying into his methods, right? I just feel like, again, for United, you get a player like that who is a box-to-box midfielder. You need someone else who can sit in front of you need a solid 6 who can sit there, and then you let the likes of Pogba and Fernandes just to go and do their thing.
Yeah.
At points, Pogba was the 6. And then 2 games later, they change him. You know what? Go and be an 8. Then another 2 games later, all right, playing the 10. And another 2 games later, now he's out in left wing. and they just didn't know what to do with him. And any player who's playing under those set of circumstances is going to find it difficult. I mean, look, when Amorim was there and Fernandes was then in the 6, and then he was a 10, and then he was box to box, and it just wasn't happening. I mean, you just struggle, and it's just how it goes sometimes, right? But look, he's won a World Cup. He's won Scudetto. I would say he's had a pretty decent career, because how many players can say that they've done that, right? You know, there's only a small percentage of players to say that they've even won a World Cup and was influential. Not that you was just part of the squad, but you was one of the ringleaders in achieving such a feat. So it's just a shame that he can't keep himself fit for whatever reason. And you know what? Maybe it's time he heads out to Qatar or someplace like that, or the MLS, Saudi, somewhere like that, where the demand is not so harsh on his body, and then he can still kind of just, you know, fade away, but fade away outside of the realms of where he can be somewhat disgraced, embarrassed, or whatever the case is. Because for a club to say, look, we're terminating your contract, it's peak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think he played 6 times. He's 33 now. He played 6 times for Monaco last season. And for someone like Pogba, play like Pogba's caliber, we've seen when Pogba plays well, he's an amazing flex. Like, he's one of the very best. But we've just not seen it enough. And that's why I was saying that it just feels as if, like, when you look at Paul Pogba, as much as he's done what he said he's done, and he's very influential in doing that, there's a bit of what else could he have done in his career? I know he's only 33, and that's by no means end of his career. But again, as you said, your contract's getting terminated at Monaco, and you're not sure about your next steps. You could potentially go to Saudi. For a player like Pogba and his caliber, should he be playing in Saudi at 33? I don't know. But
man, Crescencio Somerville's out in Saudi playing at 20.
Yeah, but Somerville and Pogba, they're 2 different level of play, aren't they?
I mean, the Pogba now, you know, remember, we're looking at the Pogba of today.
Yeah.
You know, this is what we're talking about. You know, we're not like, we've got the image of, like you're saying, Juventus Pogba. That Pogba, he died at United. You know what I'm saying?
United was not the at that time. He just wasn't. He wanted to come back to United, but you look back in hindsight, it probably was the wrong move, because Mourinho was there, Solskjaer was there, and Solskjaer maybe did a bit better to try and get a bit more out of Pogba, but overall it just didn't really work out, to be honest with you. But yeah, we're meant to see what he does and his next steps there. This is someone you mentioned earlier, Rodri. You know, he's on the verge of completing his move to Barcelona. Were you surprised by him joining Barcelona after City?
Only because I thought Real Madrid would push harder. So to me, it just feels like, oh damn, like Madrid have really missed out here, because although Madrid's midfield is still very good, I mean, look, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde, like, I mean, you're gonna have to sack one of them off to bring this guy in, right? But then we all know what Barcelona look like when they've got like the majority of the Spanish squad playing for their side. That's a scary proposition. We don't want that smoke. We know what that looks like just based on this. Do you see what I mean?
That's true.
It's they've if that gets pulled off, what a signing.
No, I think he'll be like their Busquets. And Rodri's only 30, by the way. Like, he's only 30 years old. He could play for at least another 5 years, at least, easily. In that Barcelona team, I think again he did. You know, bringing also got Gordon now, and obviously Yamal's in the team as well. Rafinha, Barcelona, they're starting to rebuild again to get to that level that they were, you know, a couple of years ago, to be honest. And I think Rodri is almost like a master, and I think he fits perfectly into what they want to do. Now, Rodri will go into any team in the world. And again, Busquets was the master of that holding position for a number of years, right? And I think Rodri is in the same mold of that type of player. Again, was very good at the World Cup for Spain, has been, you know, immense for City, a Ballon d'Or winner. And again, he's only 30 years old. So he's still got at least 5 good years playing in La Liga to carry on this great form. So as you said, I think it's a fantastic signing for Barcelona, to be honest with you. And I'm surprised that City, I know they signed Anderson, but Rodri is amazing. So I was a bit surprised they didn't. Well, I think the fee was £65 million.
Yeah, euros.
Yeah, I mean, so in pounds, that's so I'm surprised that they didn't push a bit harder, at least try and get to more pounds, at least 70 million at least. I mean, this guy's a Ballon d'Or winner. He's 30 years old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I mean, I'm surprised they didn't try and get a bit more out of Barcelona.
I mean,
But
they
yeah,
know
listen,
that at the end of the day, whenever a player's in his last year, there's only so much you can ask for before they say, you know what, we'll just wait to get him for free and we'll talk to him in January. Do you know what I mean? So you got to take what's on offer. You know what I mean?
that makes sense, man. That makes sense. Another move, Romero going to Atletico Madrid. I know his Tottenham career was a bit, I don't know, it was a bit hit and miss, really, to be fair.
He's a shocking player. Let's just be honest.
You don't rate Romero.
Dude, how can I rate somebody who is consistently sent off?
And Ramos was sent off a lot as well in his career.
Ramos was sent off a lot in his career as well, but he was a
Ramos was actually a good defender, though, to be fair.
This was it. He's a better player than this guy. Ramos's thing was more of, how would you say, Mourinho and the dark arts of football. Pepe, Ramos.
I think Romero is like that. He's Argentinian. Romero is similar in that, isn't he?
No, but he's just a madman. Have you seen some of the stuff he does? He's mad. I can't look. If you're talking about, okay, look, people can get stuck in and put in tackles and whatever, cool. But you can't, I think he got sent off, did they say 13 times last season or some mad stat like that?
It could be 13 times. No, he didn't get 13 red cards last season.
No, I'm talking about the amount of games he lost because of, he missed out because of red cards. It's like 13 games, sorry, not sent off 13 times. Like the amount of game time he's lost, including injury and whatever else. Bruh, 13 games in total. I can't rate that. Because if you're not staying fit, you're getting sent off. What is this? Do you get what I mean?
He's not Argentinian defenders. They're a bit crazy. It reminds me of like Gabriel Heinze, who's United, and he was a good player, but again, there's a bit of a madman as well. Like they don't really. It's like Otamendi as well. They don't really. It's all passion first, right? They don't really think about what they're doing. They're good. They're passionate defenders, and they get stuck in there. But I wouldn't want to rely on someone like him to lead my team. Because he's a hothead, right? And he can do very silly things, and that will eventually cost your team. And I think Romero, I think he's a good player. I don't think he's amazing. I think he's amazing at Tottenham, considering the options they had there. But you look at Van der Ven, I think Van der Ven's a much better defender than Romero. And I think him going to Atletico Madrid actually suits his personality. You've got an Argentinian manager in Simeone. That's how they play, isn't it? Atletico. Yeah. They're very good at the dark arts. They wind up opponents. And we saw what he did at the World Cup with Argentina. He's almost perfect for that team, to be honest. So I'm not surprised about the team he's gone to. And I agree. I don't think he's the best defender. But you look at Tottenham, probably in that bunch they had, that he was probably the standout. But again, considering his discipline record, not very good there, to be honest. Last topic, Zion Suzuki linked with Aston Villa. Also, be sure in the Japanese goalkeeper got Ghanaian links as well. Interestingly, got Ghanaian links. Did very well at the World Cup with Japan, and he could be replacing Martinez at Villa. I mean, what's your thoughts on Suzuki?
He seems pretty decent. Seems like he's got a good set of hands on him. He seems, I mean, from what I could see based on the World Cup, decent goalkeeper. I haven't seen him play like for Parma or anything like that, so I can't really say much. Makes me wonder: do they keep Emi Martinez? Or is this maybe them phasing Emi Martinez out before the window closes and Zion Suzuki becomes their number one? Or is he the understudy for at least up until January? I don't know. So
I think he's 23 years old, so still very young for a goalkeeper.
For a goalkeeper, still very young. And you know what? To be 23 and to have been playing first team football quite early like that, it goes to show that, he's in a good position to, good promise is what I'd say. Good promise to say he's going to be a decent keeper. Yeah,
I agree. Look at his World Cup performance. Looked very composed. Made very good saves as well. And I think when keepers, we see the likes of Casillas, Donnarumma, when they start off in a goal very young, right, they tend to become even better as they get older, right? So again, for a goalkeeper, he's still a baby because keepers can play until the mid-30s, even sometimes the late 30s as well. So the fact, if he does come to Villa, I think, Martinez obviously approaching sort of the latter stages of his career. Suzuki, considering what I agree with, I've not seen much of him at Parma, but to be on a World Cup stage and to do what he did, to look very calm, very composed, I think he'd be very good for the Premier League and a very interesting signing for Villa if that does happen. So yeah, it remains to be seen what happens with that. But yeah, look, Flexx, that's our roundup. That's our roundup. That is our preview for the Premier League. Guys, please, as always, do like and subscribe on YouTube. On the road to 300 subs. Please help us get there as always. Got to remind you as well, please follow us on X, Instagram, and also TikTok. So if you're on TikTok now, please do follow us on there. The handles will be in the description down below. Flexx, it has been good as always. And guys, we'll catch you in the next episode.